When they first approached you and said, we're going to release these DVD set, what was your feeling about that?
Well, I was thrilled because we've had so many people over the years ask us, are they ever going to put your shows out? And frankly, it took many, many years because of all of the legal business, with all the people that were on the show, worked on the show. It took a long, long time to get that cleared. But now it's cleared, and a lot of people seem pretty happy that it's coming.
And have you taken a look at the shows recently?
Yeah.
And what's your opinion of the shows looking back?
When we were airing the shows back in '76, I wouldn't look at myself, and I still have a problem today. So nothing's really changed. I said, "Who's that guy?" It's more of that type of thing. I think there was a definite style back then, which was lighter comedy, and just everything was kind of.
Well, I have a different viewpoint than Daryl does, because when I watched it, I watched it and I realized why some people thought it was the stupidest thing they'd ever seen and why some people loved it. It was very
innocent. That's the
innocent.
Word. Yes.
It was very positive, and it left you feeling happy, which is kind of a nice thing. There was some great music on there. There's no question in my mind. There was some great music. There was a lot of stupid comedy, but I loved the comedy.
Well, variety shows always had that type of thing. That was what a variety show was, especially in that time.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed the comedy because I had a theater background. It was comfortable for me, and Daryl was very uncomfortable because he'd never done that sort of thing before.
I was a studio guy,
Right.
So
He was the background guy. But you did do better when we went over to when Dick Clark was our producer, and you had
he understood
John
music.
Biner, and John Biner was the kind of comedian that there was no script. If you had a script, it went right out the window, and he and Daryl just got going with each other, and they had a lot of fun, so that worked for him.
What about some of the guest stars that guest starred on the show? Anything stands out?
The thing that stood out with me was I used to watch George Burns. He was like untouchable. That's like definitely God. He played God.
Sure. Yeah.
But,
right.
but then to have him ask me to back him, play the little piano, and he would talk and to do his little shtick, and I says, I'm on this piano backing George Burns. That was the highlight of my whole time on the
Not
whole
working
series.
with the Beach Boys? That was working with Burns was better.
Burns was amazing. Well, the first time I played with the Beach Boys, that was amazing too. But just to have George Burns there on the same stage with me, that's something that never entered my mind, ever.
One of my highlights was doing a duet with Dionne Warwick, and we did He's Gone or She's Gone, the Hall & Oates tune. And it was one of those things where we had to keep singing it so they get different, shots, and the audience was there, and they always pretend like they just heard it for the first time. But she and I had the best time singing that. They were just out singing each other up a storm. And when we finally got it all done, as we were walking away, her son, her little boy, came up and he said, I never heard my mama sing that loud, ever. And I said, yeah, that was great. So that was one of the high points for me.
Now, are you still on the road?
No.
We don't tour much. Tony was doing symphony work for a while, but we found that the main problem was really committing to touring and then making sure you keep musicians. Musicians, in order to have them stay with you, they have to have pretty much a guaranteed amount of work, or else you put them on retainer. So we weighed that, and I didn't want to be on the road like the Beach Boys. My goodness, they're still touring 3/4 of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the ones that are left, Bruce and Mike, are still touring all the time. But my entire career, even when it was, if this is Tuesday, it must be Peoria, I was always very blue whenever I had to leave home and be on the road. I loved the singing part. I loved being on stage part, but all the rest of it. I remember leaving home in the middle of the winter when it was still dark, leaving our dogs and our pets at home and driving to the airport cold, and I was just, I would be in tears half the time. So when the time came that I didn't have to do that anymore.
And what if the DVD set goes great and you get offers? Can't talk you into it?
Can you play keyboard?
It
Maybe
would
a
have to be
special one night or
very
something?
special, like a one-night thing
Right.
to benefit something, some big thing or somebody.
What we do sometimes is I play keyboard and the keyboards today have a lot of different sounds on them. You can almost get away with just Tony and myself if there's like 3 songs or something. But a full
concert, a full 70, 90 minutes,
Right.
and you've
That's
got to
a
have
big- that's a
your
big
background
one.
singers and your drummer and your bass and your extra keyboard guy and, all that stuff.
You had
I don't
enough
know.
hits to fill out a show.
Yeah, we do.
You know.
We do. And whenever we do a show, or we did a show, I always did a little bit of my standards. I always sing the standards with
Right.
symphonies and big bands. So I always do a section of that. And some of the songs that I wrote that, weren't quite so popular maybe, but that they weren't hits, in other words,
Right.
but they were pretty terrific. So, and we've got 3 original Christmas songs, 2 original Christmas songs coming out that will be part of a full Christmas album next Christmas. We just didn't have time to get it all done this year.
Great. Tony Tennille or Captain and Tennille?
Captain and Tennille.
Oh, great.
Tahoe
I'm in
Snow.
there,
yeah.
he's
good.
in there. Tahoe Snow, which I wrote,
Right.
and then a beautiful ballad called "Saving Up Christmas" was written by Sue Ennis and Hummy Man, and it's really a song for military families who are separated at Christmas. It's sung from the point of view of a young wife and mother whose husband is not going to be able to get home in time for Christmas. So she sings she's saving up Christmas until he gets home. It's a beautiful.
And when does that due out?
It's coming out with the DVD set.
With the
It'll be
DVD
like
set.
a bonus.
Okay, great.
We have 3, and actually there's another one on there that's Captain and the Muskrats. That's Here Comes Santa Claus. It's
Yeah.
an instrumental. It's just Daryl. And it's very bizarre. It's wonderfully bizarre.
Well, I wish you success.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Absolutely.
You know,